Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The top stories of tonight are: the President of the Republic attends a Palestine conference and meets a U.S. Senior Africa Advisor, Mr. Boulos. Ousmane Dembélé wins Ballon d'Or for a best player in the world. Welcome back in our newsroom. On the sunlines of the United Nations General Assembly, the President of the Republic of Djibouti, President Ismail Omar Guelleh, held a high-level meeting with Mr. Massad Boulos, Senior Advisor to the U.S. President for Africa. But a highly meaningful meeting highlighting the strength of a bilateral relationship grounded in a mutual trust and shared interests within a region where stability is both fragile and priceless. For several decades, Djibouti and the United States have stood side by side as key strategic partners. Discussion during the meeting focused on a concrete project already underway, highlighting a shared commitment to a long-term cooperation at the heart of the talks on maritime security in the Red Sea, a vital artery for global trade, increasingly affected by geopolitical tensions for both nations. Safeguarding this route is a strategic priority, essentially not only for their national interests but also to the stability of the global economy. Now, a statement from the U.S. Senior Africa Advisor. Let's follow.
It was a great honor to meet with your president and his team, and it's always a pleasure to see him. The main points that we discussed, obviously there are some bilateral points. We enjoy a great relationship between the United States and Djibouti. And this has been ongoing for a long time and shall continue. We appreciate this relationship very much. We are working also on a number of projects together, which we hope will materialize. We're interested in providing the necessary support. In addition to that, we obviously talked about the regional issues. And our interest is to have regional stability. We all know that the Horn of Africa is a place that is boiling right now, unfortunately. There are a number of conflicts in the region, and it's very, very important to ensure regional stability and to ensure peace. And Djibouti and your great president can definitely play a very important role in maintaining that peace and that stability in the region. So the conflicts are many, whether it's Sudan or some, and definitely Somalia, and then some that have to do with also other countries, South Sudan, and issues that are related to Ethiopia. And so it's very important to work together and to count on his leadership and his wisdom and his important role in the region to ensure we maintain regional stability. It's also very important as well to maintain maritime security in the Red Sea, and that's one of the main topics that we discussed as well.
President Guelleh participates in a high-level conference on Palestine. President Ismail Omar Guelleh took part in the high-level international conference on the peaceful resolution of the Palestinian question and the implementation of the two-state solution held Monday evening in New York. The conference was co-chaired by Saudi Arabia and France President and took place amid a growing wave of international recognition of the state of Palestine, despite strong opposition from the United States and threats of retaliation from Israel. In his address, President Guelleh welcomed the recognition of Palestine by more than 150 countries, describing it as an important step but not sufficient on its own to ensure peace and justice. He praised the landmark July A 2024 ruling by the International Court of Justice, which reaffirmed the illegality of the Israeli occupation. The president called on the international community to move beyond symbolic gestures and take concrete diplomatic and legal measures to end the occupation and guarantee the Palestinian people's right to self-determination. And now let's listen to the President of the Republic.
Speaking before the press, the President of the Republic conveyed through his words a rare emotion marked by solemnity and profound joy. This day, he declared, is not merely a diplomatic gesture. It embodies a historic turning point where the recognition of the State of Palestine resounds as an act of justice long awaited. He stressed the universal scope of this decision, recalling that the moral responsibility of the international community now stands renewed. In the eyes of the head of state, this courageous choice of free nations affirms that the Palestinian territories and more broadly the Middle East remain at the heart of global balances. His message carried a singular fervor, that of a leader who, while gravely denouncing massacres, the demolition of homes, and the suffering inflicted on children and the elderly, let a sincere joy shine through at the thought that the world has at least heeded the cry of Palestine. This recognition, as suggested, is not only a political victory, it is a spark of hope, a first step towards freedom. In the strain of his words resounded a fervent wish that war, violence, and injustice come to an end, and that a path of peace and dignity may open. Palestine, he proclaimed, in a vibrant surge, must live and live free.
And thereafter, President Gilley participated in the opening of the 80th UN General Assembly in New York. Today, Tuesday, President Ismail Omar Gilley took part in the opening session of the 80th United Nations General Assembly held at the UN headquarters in New York. The event brought together many world leaders. This year's session is a special marking the 80th anniversary of the United Nations under the theme Together for a Better Future, 80 years and beyond for peace, development, and human rights. Leaders are discussing major global challenges such as ongoing conflict, climate change, social justice, and AI. President Gilley's participation highlights Djibouti's commitment to strengthening its role in international affairs and sharing its vision on regional and global issues, especially those concerning the Horn of Africa. During the visit, President Gilley is scheduled to hold a bilateral meeting with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to discuss priorities in global governance and regional challenges. The day will conclude with President Gilley attending an official reception hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump at 7 p.m. New York time, honoring all participating delegations. Accompanied President Gilley is a high-level delegation including Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation spokesperson of the government Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar, Djibouti's ambassador to the United States and permanent representative to the UN, Mohamed Ziadou Ali, as well as senior officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and presidential advisors. And now the two-state solution conference calls for action and end to settlements. The International Conference on the Two-State Solution, co-chaired by Saudi Arabia and France, concluded in New York. A strong call for concrete action. In a joint statement, the conference urged Israel to halt settlement expansion and reaffirmed support for a two-state solution as outlined in New York Declaration endorsed by 142 UN member states. The press release welcomed the growing recognition of the State of Palestine and expressed a deep concern over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. It called for a permanent ceasefire, humanitarian access, the release of hostages, and the transfer of Gaza's control to the Palestinian authorities with international support. President Mahmoud Abbas pledged to pursue peaceful solutions, implement reforms, and hold elections within a year of a ceasefire. The conference also proposed an international stabilization mission and called on Israel to release withheld Palestinian funds. The final message was clear: a just peace and end to occupation are essential for lasting stability in the region. Africa at the center of debates at the UN General Assembly. The 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly opened in New York under the theme Together for a Better Future, over 80 years in the service of peace, development and human rights. This edition is expected to be a pivotal one for Africa as the continent seeks to assert its priorities on the global stage. One of the key demands is the reform of the Security Council, with calls for 2 permanent seats with veto power, as well as 5 additional non-permanent seats allocated to Africa. For the continent, this represents a crucial step toward correcting this historical imbalance in representation within the UN central body for maintaining international peace and security. Climate change is also set to feature prominently in African interventions through responsible for only a small share of global greenhouse gas emission. Africa remains one of the most vulnerable regions to climate disruptions. Delegations are expected to highlight the increasing difficulty of staying within the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limits due to insufficient global acts and commitments. Back to the capital now, where the president of the National Assembly, Dileita Mohamed Dileita, today received the new ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Djibouti. For the discussion were the long-standing ties of friendship, fraternity, and cooperation between the two brotherly countries. Both parties expressed their satisfaction with the excellent and privileged bilateral relations and reaffirmed their commitment to further strengthening interparliamentary cooperation. The president of the National Assembly assured the new Egyptian ambassador of the full support and readiness of the National Assembly in the fulfillment of his new mission in Djibouti. The Egyptian diplomat, for his side, did not fail to thank the president of the parliament for the cordial and fraternal welcome extended to him. And now this peace and friendship inter-commune tournament ends on a high note at the King Fahd complex. Inter-commune tournament organized by Salud under the auspices of the State Secretary for Sport came to a spectacular close last night at the King Fahd complex in an atmosphere filled with energy and unity. After several months of intense competition involving around 15 teams from various communes of the capital, the much anticipated final lived up to all expectations. In a stadium buzzing with the excitement, Team PK12 triumphed over Team PK13 with a narrow 1-0 victory thanks to an early goal scored in the opening minutes. From then on, PK12 held their ground with a remarkable resilience, fending off repeated attacks until the final whistle. The match kicked off at full throttle with a lightning-fast goal by PK12. Backed by a sea of passionate supporters, the team showed incredible determination in the face of relentless pressure from PK13, who created numerous chances but could not break through the solid PK12 defense. With the physical intensity impressive from both goalkeepers and a roaring crowd, the King Fahd complex was transformed last night into a true cauldron of emotion and supporting spirit.
So we would like also to give thanks for all the ministries and partners and our president who make this initiative since 5 years ago, and this continue. So I'm saying also give thanks for and good luck for this team who is playing now. And
taking the floor, the director of sport, Abshir Ali, highlighted the tournament's success in promoting unity and healthy competition among the youth. He emphasized the importance of such events in fostering social cohesion and strengthening community ties. Mr. Hassan also praised the commitment of the organizers and participants for their dedication throughout the competition. Finally, he expressed hope that the tournament will continue to grow and inspire future generations. And still with the national news, the Social Affairs Department of the High Islamic Council, affiliated with the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Properties, held its quarterly meeting this morning to address the issue of female genital mutilation and to work toward issuing a fatwa in close collaboration with religious leaders. The event is part of ongoing efforts to put in place a clear fatwa in cooperation with the religious authorities. The session was opened by the president of the High Fatwa Council, Sheikh Abdurrahman Shamsuddin, in the presence of Imam and Ulama. The meeting was led by Sheikh Shamsuddin and Erbit Hail Said, a specialist in social affairs. Participants had the opportunity to raise numerous questions and seek clarifications on the topic of FGM, engaging in discussion on its religious, social, and psychological dimensions. The meeting extensively addressed the negative consequences of FGM on psychological, social, and health level, emphasizing the importance of raising public awareness about the risk of this practice and promoting its gradual abandonment. Attendees did not fail to praise the significant effort of the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, which targets all layers of society through awareness campaign and religious and social education. Turning now to the regional and international scene. In Ethiopia, the country launched new phytosanitary capacity development strategy to boost agricultural transformation. Ethiopia has unveiled a new capacity development strategy for phytosanitary protection aimed at driving transformation in its agricultural sector. A workshop was held involving the Ethiopian Agricultural Authority, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and various participants. According to Ambassador Diriba Kumba, Director General of the Ethiopian Agricultural Authority, efforts are underway to ensure the absence of disease and maintain the quality of agricultural products exported to the global market. He explained that a study was conducted to assess the gap between World Trade Organization standards and product standards from production to export. In Rwanda now, cycling world championship in Rwanda, Evenepoel secures a gold in times trial. Under the theme Riding New Heights, the opening ceremony of the UCI World Championship held in Kigali, Rwanda, drew over 1,000 participants, including riders and national federation delegates, cycling officials, and dignitaries from around the globe. Belgian cyclist Remco Evenepoel continued his dominance in the individual time trial by claiming his third consecutive gold medal in the men's event. Evenepoel completed the 40.6 kilometers course in 49 minutes and 6 seconds, securing his third straight ITT world title following previous victories in Glasgow and Zurich. And now it was on the top series. A French star Ousmane Dembélé wins the 2025 Ballon d'Or. Ousmane Dembélé, Paris Saint-Germain's standout winger, was awarded last night the prestigious 2025 Ballon d'Or as the world's best player, edging out FC Barcelona's young sensation Lamine Yamal. The ceremony took place yesterday at one of the Paris iconic theaters hosted by France Football magazine. The audience held its breath as Brazilian legend Ronaldinho, former star of the Seleção, Barca and PSG, announced the winner between Dembélé and Yamal. While Dembélé claimed the top prize, Yamal received the Copa Trophy for the best young player. And finally, a powerful cyclone named Ragaza, locally known as Nando, one of the strongest in recent years, struck northern Philippines on Tuesday, with sustained winds reaching 215 kilometers per hour and gusts up to 295 kilometers per hour. The storm caused severe disruption, put the country on high alert. Kayagan province and Kalayan Island were particularly affected. Heavy rains and strong winds led to widespread power outage, falling trees and utility poles, and the closure of schools and government offices. So that's it for tonight's news. Thanks for being with us and have a good night.